I also, I think I'll just wait another couple of minutes till everyone else joins, and then we'll start in like 3 minutes. Okay, so I can see about 15 people are already joined live. Maybe I'll give one more minute. Okay, in like 1 minute, we'll start. Okay, hi. So for those who doesn't know me, I'm Shavini Fernando, and I'm the founder and CEO of OxiWear. Most of y'all in Sri Lanka must have heard about me and has seen my story on social media and on news and everything. So in 2015, I was diagnosed with Eisenmenger syndrome, which is because I have a hole in the heart and it was not diagnosed by the doctors in Sri Lanka. So it has severely damaged my heart and both the lungs. So because of that, I had breathing issues. And then suddenly when I realized that I was turning blue, in 2015 September, I went to the doctors to check what was going wrong because I was going blue all over every time I climbed steps or started walking up a hill and everything. And then after that, so I'm originally from Kandy, and I went to Kandy doctors, and then he said that he can see there's a hole in my heart, which has severely got enlarged, and because of that, he said, but in Kandy we didn't have enough any of the equipments that's needed to check. So because of that, he said I'll have to go to Colombo and get all the tests done. And then when I went to National Hospital, the waiting list was really long. And then I spoke to the doctor, and he said, no, it's very urgent. You need to get it as soon as possible. So because of that, he sent me to a private hospital in Colombo to get the test done. And then they did a right heart catheterization, and they checked. It's an invasive test where they sent a catheter through your either neck or through the groin inside your heart to check the pressure inside the heart and the lungs. So they did that, and literally I died and came back because my system, my body has adjusted on its own in over time period because I was very active. I was an athlete, I was a swimmer, and so my body has got immune to it. It has come up with its own system to support my lifestyle. But then because it got disturbed at that time, my heart was a bit disturbed. And then after that, they did the test, and then the doctors who did the test in that hospital, he said literally, uh, there's no treatment. But then at that time, my sister was in US, So they're working here. So then my sister came online as well. And then they asked, like, what if we take her to Singapore or to US because they live here? And then she said that she already spoke to a doctor here, and then he said, like, if I come there, I can get treated. But then my doctor got really angry because it was literally like we were questioning his intelligence, sort of a thing, and questioning his decision. So he got pissed off, and then he said, there's not here, not anywhere in the world, there's no treatment, just enjoy the 2 years you got. And everyone was really devastated and panicked. But my personality is, when someone says no to me, I literally feel like they're daring me to prove them wrong. So I said, you can't decide how long a person gets to live. And I will be back in 2 years and I will say hi to you. But luckily, because I was traveling before, like even before I got diagnosed in July, like this happened in September, and in July I was in US for literally 1 month. So because of that, I had the visas already here. So then I came like in 1 week with my parents here to get a second diagnosis by John Hopkins. But then before I flew, they said, you have to come with oxygen because you went through a procedure and then you had an episode, and they literally defibrillated me about 3 times to revive me. So because of that, my heart is not in a good condition. So to come back in with oxygen, when I'm coming to US, fly with oxygen. And then I went to that doctor and said, I need a prescription for oxygen because I have to give it to the airline. But he got angry with me. He was like, who told you to fly with oxygen? Like, you have been flying before, so just fly the same way you did. I said, no, the doctors in US said it's not safe to come with oxygen. And he said to get the prescription from him itself. So then I went back to Candy, and the doctor who initially checked me, I went to him and said this happened. And he said, just go get treated. You can, even though Sri Lanka doesn't have the treatments those countries have, you can get treated, just go. And he gave me the oxygen prescription. So then I came here, but then because I flew right after getting defibrillated, when they were running some test on me, I ended up with a stroke. So I was in hospital, John Hopkins ICU, for like literally 3 weeks. And I got a stroke, I was there, and then they were trying to figure out what they can do. So initially they did all the tests to see whether they can close the hole, but then they said my pressure, so for a normal person, so first of all, pulmonary hypertension means the pressure inside your lungs are really high. So for a normal person, the pressure inside your lungs, so there's two kinds of pressure. One pressure is the hypertension that you go where the doctor puts the handcuff and check at the hospital. And the second kind is the pressure inside your heart before it comes out to the body, inside the heart, within your heart and lung circulation system. So for a normal person, that pressure has to be 20. But when I got diagnosed, my pressure was 128. It was really bad. So then they said, because my pressure is so high, it's safer for me to live with that hole, because that hole is acting for me actually as an exhaust valve. But because of that, the trick is it reverses as well. So I have a shunt. A shunt means because there's no wall, the blood that goes, so the right heart is supposed to send blood to the lungs and the left heart is supposed to pump blood back to the body. So what happens is when the right heart is pumping blood to the body, the dirty blood gets mixed into the normal blood circulation. So whenever I do anything really active, I start going blue because of that. So the dirty blood keeps mixing into my normal system. But I'm used to it now because all this time I have been living with it. And so then they checked and said, like, let's put on you on medicine. But in case if it depends on the person, on how your body reacts to the medicine. If it doesn't react properly, they said we'll have to go eventually for a heart and lung transplant. And at that time, they said at the level that I was in, I have to get the transplant within 2 years, both lungs and the heart. And that is when I started the crowdfunding. Most of you must be familiar with it, because at that time they said within 2 years I have to get the transplant done, so to be prepared. And then they said, but in the meantime, we'll put you on medicine and see how you function. Because how they check your progress is they ask you to do a walking test. So you are supposed to walk for 6 minutes, and then they check how your oxygen in the body fluctuates and it falls down. So when I was leaving hospital after those 3 weeks, I could only walk 450 feet for that 6 minutes. I couldn't walk. I was going blue. So I came home. I had to change everything. They asked me to be on oxygen 24/7, and I even had to change to a electric toothbrush, because every time I brush, even when my hand moves, I was going blue. So I had to adjust to everything. And then at the same time, we were planning on getting the funds ready. And I remember we were talking, we had to get an apartment, because after the transplant, everything has to be sterilized. You have to stay in a germ-free area because your immune system you have to be switched off and all that. So you have to be in a cleaner environment so that you don't end up getting any germs, because your immune system is not there anymore after you do a transplant to fight those. So then after all that, they put me on medicine. And I was thinking, like, I have been living with this for so long. It's just now there's a name for it. I didn't know that this was a health issue. I thought it was normal because my whole life I was diagnosed as asthma. So I thought this is asthma. But actually I have never had asthma. It was just a misdiagnosis. So then after that, I started extending my limitations. So I was tied to the oxygen. What I did was I put a longer cannula on the oxygen and kept the oxygen in one place and started walking around with just the cannula. And then I remember I started doing walking tests at home to see how much I have improved. So I got my mother or my sister to time. And in the apartment complex on the corridor, I used to walk and see within 6 minutes how much I can walk. And then after I did all that, and I went for my next test in 3 months, I was able to actually walk 850 feet. I doubled the amount that I walked. So likewise, I kept improving myself, and I walked, the last test I walked 1980. But day before I had the test, because it's winter and the air is really dry and all, I've actually decreased my walking, the length. It's because I couldn't walk. It was too cold, too dry, and the air is thick. So I was really bad. I really felt bad because every time I go there to break my record, and this time I couldn't break the record. I was actually bad than the last time. So I kept doing things to increase my limits, and then somehow trying to get my life back, because I was like, this disease is not going to define my life, and I have to live the way I want. And then after that, I was fine for the most of the time if I'm not doing anything without oxygen. So what I did was I got portable oxygen so that I can go out of the house. And then I was a workaholic before, because I was lecturing for a university. I was project manager for IT firm, and I had my own event company because before I came to US. And so after I came here, when I couldn't do anything, I was really like feeling bored because I couldn't do anything. And so because of that, what I did was I told my parents, and I started doing an online program with Stanford. I got selected for the Stanford innovation and entrepreneurship program. So I started studying online because I told them I can't fly, and they gave me permission to do it online from the East Coast. And then I still wanted to go out of the house because online study means you're still in the house. And then after that, I started applying for schools. So then I applied for all the schools, and then I got Georgetown and 3 more other universities in the DC area. But then I liked Georgetown because it had an interdisciplinary program where it was literally like I could make my own curriculum and do anything I want. And so it's a interdisciplinary program where how you apply technology into other areas. So because of that, I started that because I'm a tech person, I'm a developer. So for me, that was something I enjoyed. And then, so I was going to school, and then after a few months, I spoke with my dad, and he said, I said I wanted to live alone, how I used to live before, because I was living with my sister and she has kids, and I didn't want to, they have a life. I didn't want to like stay with them and disturb their family life. So then I got myself a studio, and to date, my dad sends me money for the rent. I still can't afford it on my own, but then I pay my bills on my own with whatever the side gigs I do to find money. And so I moved to a studio and I started doing everything on my own and live closer to Georgetown. And I still live alone. So then when I was studying at Georgetown, so I was finally getting my life back. I was independent, doing everything but with oxygen. It was not bad because first it was awkward because people were giving me the weirdest looks. They were like, what is this crazy person doing walking around with oxygen? And but it's not bad because I get all the handicap privileges. I get special parking. The bus drivers are my friends. They stop me whenever they see me to get into a bus. I get to jump the line. Whenever they see me standing in a line, they open a special door and allow me to go without waiting in the line. So it's not bad. You get all the handicap privileges, special privileges. So then I was doing everything and studying at Georgetown. And because my dad was paying the rent, I didn't want to be a burden on him. I wanted to pay my bills and my living expenses on my own. So I did 6 jobs at Georgetown. I worked as a makerspace coordinator. Then I worked for the dean's office developing websites and designing all the marketing materials for Georgetown. And then I worked for 2 other schools inside Georgetown, helping their websites and everything. And then when I was working in summer, because during summer we can work full time. So when I was working full time during summer, suddenly when I was at work, my friend was like, "You're blue. You're completely blue." And she was holding a pen. She literally came like this, and she was holding the pen like this. She's like, "You're this color. You're just this color." And I was like, "Okay, stop panicking. Don't panic, and don't make me panic, because when your body oxygen levels, the last thing you should do is panic, because then you lose the rest of the oxygen in your body as well." So, and I'm so good at this now because I get these cardiac arrest and strokes on a regular basis. So I don't panic. I know like what to do at that time. When you get a cardiac arrest or when you feel you are getting a stroke, the first thing you should do is sit in one place, rest. If you have oxygen, wear the oxygen, crank it up to the highest number of liters possible, because you need to supply oxygen to your body. So when I got that, what I did was I literally kept hitting my chest on my own and was jumping up and down, because you need to force your heart to pump. And then by hitting, I'm defibrillating myself on my own. But my issue is because I have a hole and my left heart is hardly functioning, and my right heart does both functions. It pushes blood to the body and it pushes blood to the lungs. And so when I get my heart to restart, the first function it starts is my right function. But the right function is to send blood to the body, to the lungs. But because the pressure in the lungs is so high, what it does is it pushes it back. And then what happens is I get all the dirty blood to my whole body, and still I can't breathe because of that. So I had to do it twice so that I get that left function running. So then I did that on my own. By the time the 911 came, I was back to normal. Every time that's the case, because I can't wait till 911 comes, I will die. So I do everything on my own. And by the time the ambulance comes, I'm back to normal. And they're like, who's sick? So then John Hopkins wanted to check why it happened and all that. And everyone was like, we don't think you should live alone because it's not safe. And I was like, no, this is not going to happen because I just started my life and I'm not going to stop living my life the way I did now. Because Georgetown, if anyone has been to Georgetown, Georgetown is the most hilliest campus in DC. It has so many hills, so many stairs. So the doctors didn't want me to climb hills or go up stairs. But then I didn't want to stop it. So I said, so I went and actually bought a Fitbit. And I said, I have a Fitbit now, so I will know beforehand. And then they said, no, the problem is Fitbit shows your heart rate. It's not about your heart rate. It's because your oxygen levels in the body drops down. And you don't feel it because your body is so immune to it. Because I can stay till my body oxygen level drops to 65 or 50%. I'm fine. And so to train my heart, what I do is I play, if anyone knows VR games, I play Beat Saber. That's what my cardio training is. And when I play Beat Saber, my oxygen levels drop to 65%. But within 1 minute, it comes back to 95. So my body functions the way I want. It's so immune to it. So then I said, I have the finger cuff. And then he said, even the finger cuff, unless you wear it, you don't know it. So I teased him saying, okay, then let's make something. Let's do something that will monitor my oxygen levels. And just like, you know, how the fire alarm rings when there's smoke, when the oxygen level starts dropping, I can call 911. I was joking with my doctor. And he was also like, yeah, go ahead. If anyone can do it, it's you, do it. So I came back to Georgetown. Luckily, my program is an interdisciplinary program, which you can do anything. So I went to my program director and said, okay, I have a crazy idea. Will you all allow me to do it for credits? And then I told them I want to invent this device. And they said, yeah, you can do it as an independent study. And they said, but you need to find a professor who would monitor your progress. So I went and spoke with my professor, Dr. Baba, who has been advising me on all the electronic stuff and all the crazy things I made in school. So he said, I will monitor your progress and I'll do the credit allocation. So then I did it and I made it. I made it at the end of the semester. I had no clue how to make it because I'm a software developer. I'm not a hardware developer, but I loved Arduinos and I loved Raspberry Pis. I love playing with wearable boards on Arduinos. So then I first made the whole prototype using Arduino Beetle, a small Arduino board, and it worked. So then after that, at Georgetown, they have an entrepreneur pitch competition hosted by Ted Leonsis. I don't know whether anyone knows Ted Leonsis. He's the owner of Monumental Sports, which owns the Caps ice hockey team, the Wizards basketball, and the Mystics, all the teams, DC sports teams. So he gives a grant to the best entrepreneurship idea in school, $35,000. And then on top of that, $30,000. And then on top of that, there's a People's Choice Award where everyone who comes for the pitch can vote and you get another 5,000. So then I made this device and in school while I was working at Makerspace when I was the operations coordinator. So my Makerspace manager, Don, said, I nominated you for the pitch competition. And I was like, what do you mean? He said, no, you have a good device and it's something you can really do. And you made it and there is a market for this. So I nominated you because no one at the makerspace has ever won a prize. And I want you to be the first to win the prize. And so I said, okay, fine, because I was like, there's a long way to go because you have to get selected for the finals to pitch, otherwise you won't. And then I got selected for the finals. I was like, oh my God, now what am I going to do? So then that was the start of my company, OxiWear. Till then, it was only a concept. Then I went on that pitch day. When I got onto the stage, my heart rate was literally 150. And I had to crank up the oxygen because if it goes anywhere beyond that, I would go blue. So I cranked up the oxygen to 4 liters, went up and pitched, and I won the first prize. And then after that, everyone in the audience voted for me. Like, I got 80% of votes from the audience for the people's choice. So from that prize, from that I got 80%, and then I got 35,000 from that pitch. And then what happened was, because I got selected for that, there was another pitch for $5,000. My school put me into that pitch as well, saying that is your practice pitch. You need to go for that. And then your this whole stage phobia will go off. Practice for that. Whether you win or lose, then it will give you the practice you need to pitch. So I went for that before that big pitch, and I won that as well. So I won 5,500 from that, and then I went for the other one, and I won 35,000 from that. So that was the OxiWear pitch. That was November 2018, in November 28th, 2018. And that is when I started working on this. So after that, since then, I did this whole year I ran with that money, and now we filed and I have 2 pending patents for my device. And last month I got the trademark from the USPTO, and till last month I was the only one in my company. I was OxiWear. I didn't have a team. I did everything on my own. And currently I'm at the Halcyon Incubator. If anyone interested, you can go search for Halcyon. It's a global incubator. Anyone from anywhere can apply. And so they select 8 social entrepreneur companies. So I'm one of them. Out of 435 applications, I got selected. So now I'm currently there. And then last month, I managed to get 2 team members. George, who is a pulse oxy and a wearable engineer who has worked 10 years for wearable companies such as Intel and worked on cardiac monitors and all that. And then I got Ben, who is the product designer for companies such as Under Armour, Frog, and all these companies in the West Coast, in the Silicon Valley. So they both are working with me now. And I will do the first, I can show you the first prototype model. No one has seen it except for the people in my incubator. So we made this is the first prototype model. And we finished the device. So when it's done, it'll come like this. Yeah, so this is a 3D printed prototype model, not the final one. So next week we are sending, that is how it's going to come. And we will be sending the prototype to Taiwan to get the device done next week. And so that we have finished the chipboard, so PCB board, so we can get the functioning prototype. Because January I have my Halcyon Incubator final showcase pitch where I have to pitch for all the investors. So for that I will have my device done, and I will try to see if I can show you the 2 devices. So I hope anyone can see that is how my device will look, what I'm having in January. So for 1 year with that small money, I did so much. and the lawyers work with pro bono. Like I went and spoke, asked for help, people helped me, and then so lawyers I have wholly working with me on pro bono. So my plan is to get this out first as a lifestyle device. So because hypoxia means low levels of oxygen in your body, and low oxygen is not only for people with hypoxia, people people with pulmonary hypertension. Even anyone can feel hypoxia. If you are someone who does high cardio activities, if you are someone who is a professional swimmer who goes for high altitude training, if you are a high altitude climber who goes, if you anyone climbed Everest, you must have felt when you're on Everest how lightheaded you feel. That's because you get hypoxic. And most of the strokes, most of the cardiac arrests, they happen because your body oxygen levels drop down and you don't feel it. So if you have an alert beforehand to tell you your oxygen levels are dropping, you know when to get help. So most of these the deaths that happen are preventable if there is an alert on time. So with this device, I can help to put a stop to most of these preventable deaths, because that's how I'm able to always recuperate from a stroke or from a cardiac arrest, because I know what I'm supposed to do. I have got 4 cardiac arrests, I have got 3 strokes, and touch wood, I'm still good because I know what to do. I don't have any deficits from those because of that. So, but not everyone can do that. But then if they know beforehand, they can call and get the help. So what my device does, it continuously monitors the oxygen levels, and then it warns you when your oxygen levels are going below that safe level. Because for a normal person, it should be above 95. If it goes below 95, you would feel lightheaded, and if it goes below 90, you would end up with stroke. So just as it's fluctuating and starting to go below 95, you would get a warning, and then the device itself has a button at the back. So when you press it, what happens is it dials 911 for you. So the device has a speaker and a mic, and it's like a Bluetooth headset. So because when you get hypoxic, the last thing you should do is walk around and look for your phone, because that will put your oxygen levels more down, and then it will cause you more hypoxia. It will make it faster for you to lose the oxygen. So then, because the device is like a Bluetooth headset, all you have to do is sit, rest, do anything you are supposed to do. If you have oxygen, wear the oxygen, and then get your oxygen levels back. So without running, looking for your phone, then because your device can dial 911, while you're doing all that, you can ask for help. And at the same time, the device will send, through the mobile application, you can set 3 numbers as your emergency contacts, and then the device will automatically send SMS alerts to those emergency contacts, which will then get your location and your blood oxygen level, so they know you are there, you need help, and they can come to you. So this is going to help not just people like me, so many people, so they can stop all these deaths that happen, which are preventable. So, and then this is the first time anyone's monitoring oxygen data in the body out of hospital. So already, like, a lot of research institutes, hospitals are reaching out for partnerships to get that data with them, because no one has any continuous oxygen monitoring data to date that is monitored outside hospitals or at clinical trials. So that data actually will help the patient as well, because when I go to the hospital, people don't believe me when I say when my heart stops, because it cannot happen according to them, and they don't know how it happened, why it happened. But then, because my data is there on my phone, I can show it to them and say this is what happened. So they see the vitals, they see how it fluctuated, and along with that, I'm recording the air quality, altitude, and all those environmental factors that affects hypoxic situations. So they can diagnose what exactly happens and give that patient a personalized treatment. Because if they don't know it, they don't know how to treat it. Because sometimes when I go to hospital, they think I had a clot. The stroke is because of a clot, whereas the stroke was because my oxygen levels dropped down, not because of the clot. So this will help a lot of people. And recently, so after 1 year, I started raising funds because now I'm going to Japan because I need to get nanoparts for the device, which can be done only in Japan or Korea. And also because I'm getting the FDA approvals to put it out as a medical device later on in 1 year. I have to manufacture it at FDA approved manufacturer. So only Mitsubishi can do the manufacturing outside US for FDA approval devices. So I'm trying to partner with Mitsubishi, and then for that I need money, because to get my first board done, it'll cost me around $150,000. So I'm not in Sri Lanka, I'm in US. I can't even get a bank loan here because I'm not a citizen. So that's why I started raising funds. And it's not easy. People don't believe. Most of the people have questions. How is this person going to do? What's going to happen if you die? And all those questions. So 99% of the time people will not believe you, but you need to find that one person who believes you and validates your mission. And then when you find that one person, everything else falls into place. So for me, I had such a hard time trying to figure out, people do believe in my mission, but people are scared to put money to invest. But then 2 weeks back, I went back to school because the same competition that I won money, it was this year's competition. So as the previous winner, I had to MC the event. And then I was emceeing the event, so I had to tell the progress I did. For 1 year, the progress, and then what I have done with that money. And then at that time, I went and asked Ted Leonsis. I said, I need to, he asked me, what are you doing now? So I said, I'm trying to get the fitness platform properly designed. And I need to understand how to calculate the PV and then what exactly the fitness community needs. And I'm trying to talk to the Georgetown fitness coach. Then he said, that's not the coach you should be talking. You need to speak to my coach, which means the coach for Caps, Wizards, Mystics, all the DC sport teams. And I was like, can I? He was like, yeah, I'll connect you with my medical and the fitness teams. You can speak to my coach and work with my teams to get your fitness device done. And I was the happiest person. And then at the same time, he asked me, how's the funding going? I said, yeah, that's the other part. I'm trying to raise funds, but it's pretty hard. And I asked, if I send you my term sheet, can you send it around in your network so that some of the people he knows will get money? And then he said, that's not how you should ask, young lady. You should say, Ted, I'm raising for my company and I want you to invest. And then he was my first investor. Last week, with signed papers, he put money in. And now he said, I said, you can join my board. And then he said, no, I don't want to do all this board business, but I will be in your advisory board. You can put my face on your website. And since then, so many people are reaching. I'm getting so many requests, connections. It's funny. You just need that one person who believes in you, and everything falls into place. So, and then a lot of people will come and they would have interest to make your business a $1 billion business. I have so much people who's interested in making this to $1 billion business. But do not forget your mission. My mission is saving lives, not me becoming a billionaire. So if anyone wants to turn this to $1 billion business, they're talking to a wall. It's not coming beyond that. For no one, I'm going to change my mission. Because I want to be able to save the lives here first, and then go into Africa, Asia, all the countries whose people are misdiagnosed, because if they have this device, they can get diagnosed earlier and figure out ways how can give it cheaper, how I can give it for free. So you start, most of the time we start a company with a mission. Do not change your mission for any reason, for anyone. Just because they would say, I would give you $1 million, change your mission. Do not do that. That doesn't make you a good entrepreneur. Your entrepreneur life is on all your mission, and then to get to that mission, how you persevere. And then it's a struggle and a half. It's not easy. I do so many side gigs to pay my bills because I'm not getting paid from my company yet. It's, you need to hang in there. There will be problems. There will be times where you're like, why am I doing this? What am I doing this for? Why am I going through all this? Watch a comedy, laugh, and then all those problems will go, and then reset your brain again, come back and do the work. That's entrepreneurship. But then this is just a storm. The silver line is somewhere there, and you will get there if you're positive, if you stick to your mission, because your positivity will get you a long way. Like, because they say your vibe attracts your tribe. So until you meet that one person who believes in you, do not give up. And hopefully, yeah, by January 2021, this will be out in the market for sale. And this January, I'm launching my Kickstarter campaign to get pre-orders. So I will keep you posted. And if anyone wants to know anything, you can shoot any questions now. Yeah, so this will go till 12. So if anyone wants to ask any questions, go ahead and type it, and then I will answer. Yeah, so that's a good question. There's one question saying, thank you, Minuri, for asking this. I tell this to everyone. She's like, what's the advice for young people living with a disability in Sri Lanka and how to embrace it? Not just there, even in US, I say this because if you check my website, my company mission is having pulmonary hypertension doesn't mean your life has to stop. Having a disability doesn't mean your life has to stop. It's all in your head. Everyone will try to say, oh, you are disabled. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be going out. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be doing this. This is how your life it should be. It's no one else can decide what your life should be other than you. If you take everyone else's all these negative ideas into your head and think, oh, I am disabled, this is it, my life has stopped, you're literally forcing your body to work that way. Your brain is the CPU to your body. If you keep telling yourself, I am not disabled, I am still the same person, this is not going to stop my life, you will do this. See, do never sympathize about your life. If you're sympathizing on your life, everyone else also will sympathize with you. It's your life. Live it the way you are. Don't let a disability control your life and say you are disabled. It's, if as long as you don't think you are disabled, you can live a normal life. Don't let disability be a weak point to put you down, but make that disability be a stronger point to make you stronger. Whatever everyone else says, take those into your head as points that you have to prove people wrong. My disability is not going to stop me. This disability, if people say you can't do this, try, learn, do things to show them, no, I can do that. I'm not disabled. It's all in your head. Do not let a disability control your life and define your life. If you let that disability define your life, no one else can help you. You are the only person who can help you. So just be strong, keep your head straight, because your brain can do so much which no one understands. Your brain is the CPU. Just like your computer, you program the computer, your brain is the CPU to your body. Train your brain, your body will work the way you want. Do not let a disability define you. And if anyone tries to make fun out of you, ignore. See, if other than your parents, my concept, if people are not providing you a roof and food to live, the rest of the people, what they say should not matter. And if people try to bully you, just ignore. Just laugh at them. When people say things to me, some people ask, so how long do you get? And I so revert it back. I'm like, maybe longer than you. I might say longer than you. Just revert it back. Then they will stop asking those questions. Just don't get angry. Just laugh on those. Because the happy you are, your body is happy. It's all about being happy. And live for the day, live for the moment, because none of us knows what happens tomorrow. So don't let a disability be the reason why you stop your life and living your life. Any other questions? Yeah. So yeah, there's another question. It's like people are asking, like, my perspective on life is inspiring. How did you develop it from childhood onwards? I would say I never took life seriously. I was always a happy-go-lucky person. Um, when people advise me, whichever the advice you think, see, advices are always good, but then you need to know which advice applies to you and which advice doesn't apply to you. So I had this filtering system in my brain, which didn't come. I used to get so angry when I was a kid, when people give me opinions, because I was a tomboy. I was not the ladylike girl ever. I studied at a convent. I must have got punished half my school life. But that doesn't mean my grades were bad. My grades were really good. But I was a tomboy. And then, so I get scolded. I do all that, but I move on. I don't take those to my head. I live for day. Whatever that happened in the past has already happened. No point of worrying about it. And we have no idea what's going to happen in the future. Just live for the day, enjoy what you got, and be happy. And that has always been my life motto. And the only people who I have ever argued properly with is with my parents. Other than that, if anyone else has argued, I ignore. Because you don't need to boil your blood over all this nonsense other people says. Why waste and burn your blood for, you know, people who you don't care about? So just ignore them. Laugh at them, smile at them, and just ignore. Don't let those get into your brain. Stop them from here and bounce them back. Only the ones that you think, get all the positive things into your head, bounce back all the negative things. And I have always lived for the day, and just I have always been a happy-go-lucky person, and that's exactly how I'm living now. I don't take any of the things, unnecessary things, into my head. Because you worrying is going to change your life, then worry. If nothing's going to change your life, so why waste your time and blood over it? Just enjoy, live life. And then there's one asking, what would I advise the undergraduate students? If you want something, if you want to do something, go. See, I was in school in 98 and I graduated I finished school in 2001. At that time, I started using computers on GW Basic and then went to Windows and just played around with all the softwares. But now there's so many things on YouTube. You don't need schools. You can learn everything online these days. If you like something, all the things I have learned in my life, I got the theory from yes, I have 3 masters, but everything I've learned is theory from there. Everything practical I learned on my own. Go on YouTube, go on all the online materials. Put all your, whenever you have time, if you want to do something, if you like something, go look at those. Go on YouTube, go on Google, just search. You can learn on your own so many things. And most of the people, that's how they learn. So you don't need someone. Okay, so there's another one. How are you so passionate about what you're doing? You need to love what you do. If you love what you do, if you have a mission, you would be passionate about it. You need to find that one thing that you love doing and do that, because then it's not a job, it's a hobby. Then you don't feel like you're doing a job. It's all about finding that one thing you love doing all the time. And then there's another question. Yeah, so I can see the page just shared on the chat, the Halcyon Incubator. It's a global incubator, so the spring cohort applications just finished and they just selected the next cohort. So for the fall, they will open around May. Just keep following, just sign up for the newsletters and you will get emails when they're opening. If you have a social entrepreneurship a company, which is like a company which you're doing for social good, just apply for that. It's a 5-month program where you get the visa to come to US and work on it, and then they give you a 10,000 stipend, and then they give you living space, and they give you all the advices, all the mentorships, and all the facilities you need in order to expand your business. And it will get you so far. Just apply for this and you will be able to find all the connections, all the funds, and people who would believe in your mission and who would help you. And there's another question. Culturally, we are not encouraged to ask for help. Yeah, totally. So for me, yesterday I was speaking about this. Culturally, we are told not to ask for help. And it was a problem for me as well. At the beginning, I was like, how I feel so awkward even now when I go and ask for help. But then, unless you ask, people don't know that you need help. So the first time I did was I was sending newsletters and then I was applying for the Halcyon Incubator. And I needed to have 2 referees, strong referees. So then what I thought was, okay, unless I ask, I don't know. See, you anyways don't have it. If they say no, what's the harm? You anyways don't have it, right? There's nothing to lose. So then I remember I emailed Ted Leonsis asking, I have to apply for this incubator and I need a reference. Can I put you as my reference? That's the first time I asked something from someone who is completely a stranger to me, but who has given me money. So I knew he believed something in me. And then within 5 minutes, he responded back saying, yes, go ahead. See, if I didn't ask that, I wouldn't have got that reply. So yes, culturally, we are trained not to ask, but unless you ask, you won't get it. Third, for this whole year, everything I did, I only had 35,000. And in US, getting stuff is so expensive. But it's just because I went and asked people, I was able to get most of the things for free. People want to help you, but the thing is, unless you ask, they don't know you need help. And I don't see there's anything to be ashamed of going and asking for help. You asking and explaining your situation actually shows how passionate you are about that you are willing to do anything, and even put that your whole awkwardness aside and go and ask help because you want to succeed in your mission. So never be afraid to ask. There's nothing to lose by asking, so just go ask. Okay, so yeah, there's a question whether I have been depressed. No, I have not. I think it's because of my mindset. I don't take anything to my head. So see, being depressed means it's all in your brain. It's because you keep telling you think low of yourself. You are your only you can save yourself. No one else can. Keep your head strong, and because if anyone should be depressed, it should be me. Because I have literally have no idea how long I will get to live. But I don't know. So why should I think about it? Right? And then I had my test day before, and my doctor said, because my pH has again from 128, it had come down to 80 last time, but then now this time when I went again, it has gone up to 100 because it's winter. And then the doctors are worried. So they said, maybe I should get an MRI to see whether my heart has got weak again. And they advise, say, maybe we should do a transplant evaluation and see so that we are ready. I was like, okay, let's do it. They just said that do it. That doesn't mean like, that's the end of your life. Just don't take things in your head. That's where we do wrong. We try to sympathize for ourselves. We try to think like we take it to your head, and if you itself is putting yourself down, how can you are the only one who can help yourself. Just be strong, keep your head strong. Like I said, everyone will try to be negative. They will stay out of the negative. If someone's sending you negative vibes, stay out of them, stay away from them. Like I said, create that filtering system in your head. When people are giving you negative ideas, bounce it back. Do not take it to your head. All the can'ts, all the won'ts, all the don'ts, don't take it to your head. But if anyone's being positive and supporting and giving you good positive vibes, take them. And then once you keep doing that, and once you keep training your head to that, it automatically happens. You will learn how to avoid those conversations. Just don't let other people's negativity get into you. Because like I said, your vibe attracts your tribe. When you are positive, the universe will send only positive things at you. But if you are negative, see, we are like a magnet. We are like a magnet. We are the magnet. So if you're positive, you will get all the positive things at you. But if you're negative, you will again get all the negative things at you. So be positive. Just think, I can do this. No one, like I said, no one can define what you can do. You are the only person who can decide what you can do and what you can't do. It's up to you. Keep your head strong, be positive, and never give up. Be like, persevere. Your perseverance and the positivity can get you a long way. So it's all up to you. Yeah, so there's a question saying university degrees and their values when it comes to your life. Yeah, like, see, I have learned, I have 3 degrees, right? But I would say not all the degrees help me. Because most of the things that I'm doing now, I develop virtual reality and video games that I didn't learn in school. I learned on my own. I do web developing, and I do designing. That I learned on my own, right? And then what I'm doing now, that I did on my own. It's good to study because then you learn all the theories and the things, the logic behind everything. But just having the degree is not going to do anything if there's no contribution from you to that. You need to keep yourself updated. You need to learn things on your own, do things on your own, learn stuff on your own. And then what you get from the university studies is just the theory, the logic, the way to things. And then when you're doing this, those will help you in order to identify how I should to navigate, okay, and to adjust your path in doing it. So, but then most of the time, so because if you say like yesterday I was teasing, because I still have to complete my Stanford program, and I said maybe I can call myself a Stanford dropout like everyone else, Harvard dropout, Yale dropout. So most of the people who are doing this because they learned on their own, right? I have had people in my team who's just with the undergrad but who's so good. So the degree will help you to say I'm qualified, to prove, because some people want to see proof, but then that doesn't mean just having a degree is going to make you employable. To make you employable, you need to have all the social skills you need and the other skills you need and the knowledge about the day-to-day, like the current life. So you need to keep yourself updated. That the schools can't do and no one else can do for you. Yeah, so we are on time. So it's 12 o'clock my time, and I'm trying to figure out what time it is for you. I can answer one last question if there's anything before we close the webinar. Okay, good question. How do you stay focused when storms happening around you? How do you calm yourself? How do you focus? Yes, I get so angry when people question me sometimes. I count to 10 and 10 to 0 in my head. I keep telling myself because, see, I'm someone who never gets angry. Like nothing around me can make me angry. But then if someone makes me angry, they really make me angry. And so at that time, what I do is I keep telling myself, okay, breathe in, breathe, Shavini, breathe. And I keep breathing, I breathe in, breathe out in my head. And I keep counting from 0 to 10, 10 to 0, and calm myself down. And then what I do is, because if I continue that conversation, I know I will get more angry. So I say, okay, I need to do this. I will be back. And I avoid the conversation and just go away. Because you don't need to put hay into the fire. So it's better to avoid that. And also what I do is, and I know there's too much, like for this week, it's crazy. I had 3 days for Thanksgiving, and then I literally had 5 in the morning to 9 in the night days this whole week. But then yesterday, what I did was I had to get my brain to calm down. So then what I do is I take no point of you trying to do and force your head to do things when you know your head is not focused. So you need to do things you like, enjoy, and then get your brain to like again recalibrate. So what I do is, my secret thing is I watch comedy. I watch a comedy movie and I laugh out. Then you refresh your memory and then you come back and then you focus. And then in the night, if you're doing something, sleep on it. Just sleep on it, and then by morning your problem is solved. You would know what to do. Just take time. Don't force yourself. You need to to calm down. The best thing is breathe and watch a comedy. Try me. Comedy is the best therapy. It's such a good therapy to get your focus back. And the next thing, have you made your product into a startup opportunity? And I need some. Yeah, my company is all registered and I have prototypes and I have employees and everything. It's now incorporated company here. So I'm not very familiar with the startup structure in Sri Lanka because I did it here, so I know the whole research. So you will have to like, the best thing is sit with someone who has done this in Sri Lanka and talk to them. And like I said, ask for advice. Go ask. Sit with someone who has done this and then ask them how did they do it, how did they start, what did they do in Sri Lanka. And a startup community is the first person because all of us knows the struggle, so the startup community helps each other very well. I believe it's like that in Sri Lanka as well, because here is the same. We help each other. Like my lawyers I found through my other colleagues. My lawyers were connected to me through my friends who's doing the soap pens, and then my FDA lawyers were connected to me through my incubator, and then those lawyers helped me to incorporate and all that. And then on top of that, I do my market research, just do the market research and see whether you're a niche. Because if you're a niche, it's very easy to go out because you need to prove that you are different, you're a unicorn. It's easy to go up then. Yeah, so like I said, if you have a great idea, first thing is see. No point of you wasting time and figuring out that you are doing something someone else has already done. Do your market research and see whether you are in that right top corner. You need to be in that right top corner and see whether you are a niche and how you different. So the thing is, okay, is there a problem, right? So you need to figure out what's the problem you're trying to solve and how are you solving it and how are you different to the others, right? See how you're different to the others and whether what you're trying to do is actually needed, whether you're not copying someone else. So like I said, yeah, you need to make sure you are in that right top corner on the 4 squares. And if you are there, no matter how many people say you are crazy, you can get it out and you can make it a successful venture. Okay, so I guess we are done. And if you need any help or anything, just send me messages through the CEF page and just ask them, and then they will send me the questions. And yeah, so thank you all so much for joining. And then I think it's very late in Sri Lanka, so good night. And it's lunchtime for me, so I'm going to have my lunch. Bye. You're always welcome.